Diddy's sons have stopped attending his bond hearings because of the mounting lawsuits against them, which claim that they sexually assaulted minors. Grace O'Marcaigh alleges that Christian Combs sexually assaulted her on a yacht in December 2022. Morton.
And raped me. He at that point I was fighting, trying to get away from him.
And once I was in a helpless position and he was sure that he was in a position of power, then he took advantage of the situation.
It seems that the apple didn't fall far from the tree, as Diddy's son Christian Combs was just listed as a co-conspirator in the lawsuit against Diddy. There are also allegations that Diddy called these incidents freak-offs and regularly recorded them, forcing these victims to have sex with prostitutes while touching himself. This takes us full circle to the civil case that producer Lil Rod, whose real name is Rodney Jones, filed in February against Diddy. NAM charges Justin Combs with recruiting young women and sex workers as prostitutes. In this instance, a picture of Justin Combs with a purportedly young girl is actually included in the lawsuit. As an aside, Lil Rod says he woke up around 4 in the morning after feeling lightheaded the night Diddy forced him to swallow a laced shot. Additionally, he asserts that a listening party at Diddy's residence, where a sex worker was allegedly contacted and a freak-off took place, was attended by at least one underage girl, unclothed beside his SE employee. It's noteworthy that Justin Combs is included as a defendant in this case because, according to Lil Rod, he occasionally participated in civil lawsuits and assisted Diddy's purported RICO enterprise. According to court records, Justin Combs, too, is also alleged to have participated in a gunshot cover-up that took place outside Diddy's Chalice Studios on September 12, 2022. According to Lil Rod, Diddy, his son Justin, and Justin's pal G were all there when things got hot. He says he heard a lot of gunfire and found G on the toilet floor in the fetal position. Tiny Diddy's son Justin is the subject of the specific allegation, but his other son is the subject of a separate claim and a distinct civil case. According to Rod, he was bleeding from his leg and hip. The crowd was then asked to phone for an ambulance. Justin Combs and Diddy disappeared to another area of the studio at that moment. Diddy then instructed him to inform the police that he had not connected to the shooting. Additionally, he made Mr. Jones lie to the police by claiming that assailant had shot G while he was standing outside the studio. Christian Grace, or King Combs O'Marcaigh, alleges that Diddy assisted in the terrible attack on her on a yacht by Christian Combs in December 2022. King and Christian Combs, Diddy's only two sons, who were present at Diddy's recent bail hearing and are listed in the lawsuit against him. Allegedly in an effort to disassociate themselves from their father, Diddy's other 7 children did not even bother to go. In addition to the startling abuse allegations, there are claims that Diddy was also trying to groom his stepson. Remarkably, his stepson, who was charged with child abuse alongside his father, was present at his trial.
Interesting too, because this time around, Diddy was brought in first. He was brought in about a couple minutes after 2 p.m. today, and we were all kind of waiting to see. We had heard mumblings that his mom might be in courtroom, that we were waiting for the children, but then nothing happened. But then, in another twist and turn, the children do walk in, but this time it was a lot smaller bunch than it was the last time. So last time you're having all of Diddy's children, except with the exception of Love, who is just a 2-year-old child, so she wasn't at court, but you had all of Diddy's children there except Love. But this time around, you just had Justin Combs and Christian Combs, meaning that there was no Quincy there today. Delilah and Jesse weren't there. Chance wasn't there. And the caretakers of his younger children who aren't of age just yet, they were not present inside the courtroom as well today. But his mom also wasn't in court today. So when Diddy came inside, it was still that standard issued MDC jumpsuit. He's wearing khaki. From that video of, I think that was obtained by Daily Mail back in September, of Diddy playing hacky sack in Central Park, to now he appeared just astonishingly thinner, which you can expect to be inside a federal detention center for a couple months now. A lot different from the luxury lifestyle that he was living before, but he appeared very noticeably thinner. And
a friend of Diddy's ex-wife, Kim Porter, is being sued by Diddy's kid on charges of providing freak-off tapes that purport to show Diddy having sex with minors. It is interesting to note that Diddy's sons are only interested in the money that Courtney may make if he decides to publish their mother's memoir, which is purportedly in FBI custody, along with 8 freak-off videos. They don't even care to listen to their mother's viewpoint.
He says he owns the rights to a book that was reportedly based on the alleged memoir of Kim Porter. In fact, according to TMZ, Burgess' phone was seized by the feds, and on it was a copy of a flash drive with material that was used in this book. Here's the problem. Christian and Quincy Combs, these are the sons of Diddy and Kim Porter. Quincy's actually adopted by Diddy. But they are reportedly fighting back, and they have sent Burgess a cease and desist letter to prevent the further sale of this book. They argue this is just an attempt to capitalize on Porter's fame and that they own the rights to her IP, her intellectual property, like her diary entries, her potential manuscript. As her heirs, they own it. And they also want an accounting of current sales of the book. To be clear, though, they aren't acknowledging that there is, in fact, a long-lost memoir from their mother. In fact, they've actually denied that before when there was a similar book, a derivative work, we'll talk about that, published by this guy named Chris Todd on Amazon. They were adamantly fighting against that. They said that their mother wouldn't write this. But what they're basically saying is if something should exist, they own it.
In a recent interview with News Nation, Courtney Burgess detailed the facts of the freak-off videos that Kim Porter gave him. According to reports, the tapes document several celebs abusing Diddy's Mo. The victims were drugged and seemed to be children. Although it's unclear at this time whether any of Diddy's kids attended his bizarre parties, it's easy to assume that they did, because Diddy's stepson was seen there.
And those statements include descriptions of what the witness says he saw on those tapes. So I asked him about that, and he answered what he could, given the limitations imposed on him after testifying before the grand jury. Out of those 8 videos, 8 celebrities, 6 men and 2 women, how many of those 8 celebrities were close to being underage or potentially underage?
2 males.
2 males. And of those 8 celebrities, how many of them were intoxicated or under the influence of drugs?
This is going to be all speculation. I just want to preface it by he wouldn't know if they were. Right.
Sure.
Appear to
Let
be.
me rephrase it.
Based on, yes.
Understand. Out of the 8 celebrities who were recorded having intimate relations with Sean Combs, how many of them appeared to be either inebriated or intoxicated or under the influence of drugs?
All of them. All of them.
Out of those 8, how many appear to be potentially victimized? How many might have been victimizing?
I think all, to be honest, all.
Were victims
They
or
victims.
were perpetrating?
Victims.
They were all 8 were victimized,
Yeah,
meaning
victim.
this was happening to them and they were inebriated.
Right. Not knowing, I guess, how much proof it was in it, what they was doing.
Freddie P., an artist who worked closely with Diddy in his early years and was allegedly blackballed by him, claims that industry insiders always suspected that something strange was going on between Diddy and his stepson. He claims to have seen suspicious behavior between Diddy and his son Christian, and there are even lawsuits claiming that Diddy raped minors while his son was present.
You should always advocate for yourself and be a voice for yourself. You should never let what somebody else did ruin or run your life.
I look at his kids and everything, and I'm asking deeper questions than I would like to, like why you were so infatuated with a child who wasn't yours, and were you raising that young boy? I don't even want to start those conversations because, well, that's not your child. You know what I mean? And for you to keep him that close, it's like you kept him that close because he must have your secrets, because he's not your child. So if he's not you're that kind of person with that kind of character, and when he eventually reaches a certain age, you don't mind actually doing it to him because, in your mind, he's not yours. So you keep him very close to you, making sure he doesn't go to his father, which is why you make sure he's separated from him, and you give him everything he needs. Would like to know why you received one? Little Michael Jackson has some secrets that he can't share with anyone since they will be part of his legacy. That is, his manhood. And his brother won't think he's crazy. Only God knows about it, right? It seems like grooming to me, but I'm not sure. I'll just say that I'll be short, son, and who's in love with another man's son that much, like you.
What made you want to come forward and talk today?
Because I think that I've been quiet long enough about what I've been through, and it's been hard enough to be quiet, but it's a chapter of my life that I'd like to close.
You weren't scared to be all alone?
No, with having autism is like feeling like you live your life in a shatterproof juggle ball. The world's on fire. The fire is inside the ball with you, but there's no way for you to get out.
And additionally, the victim who is suing Diddy has granted NBC an exclusive interview. The victim, a 38-year-old autistic woman from Alabama, claims that Diddy drugged her and then married her with Jay-Z after she lost consciousness. She has also named other celebrities in the lawsuit and claims that she was afraid of what Diddy and Jay-Z would do to her if she spoke out. The woman claims that Diddy married her and Jay-Z at an after-party after the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards in New York City.
I stumbled upon Diddy's driver, who told me that I was exactly what Diddy was looking for.
What did you think when he said that to you?
I thought it meant that I was just pretty.
And additionally, the victim who is suing Diddy has granted NBC an exclusive interview. The victim, a 38-year-old autistic woman from Alabama, claims that Diddy drugged her and then married her with Jay-Z after she lost consciousness. She has also named other celebrities in the lawsuit and claims that she was afraid of what Diddy and Jay-Z would do to her if she spoke out. The woman claims that Diddy married her and Jay-Z at an after-party after the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards in New York City.
I'm talking to Benji Madden about his tattoo because, I have about his tattoo that's the Last Supper, because I have a religious background. So it was just something to talk about.
Along with having autism, the woman claims that on the night of the 2000 VMAs, she sustained a brain injury. She claims that a friend drove her over 5 hours from Rochester, New York, to Manhattan, and her lawyer gave NBC News the name of the buddy, who has since passed away. She claims that after speaking with Coles's limo driver, he offered to drive her to an after-party.
Comes in and rapes me. He at that point I was fighting, trying to get away from him, and he put his hand over my mouth and told me to stop it, cut the
She claims that after drinking something that made her drowsy at the after-party, Colmus and Carter alternately raped her, while a female celebrity looked on.
We rode home in silence. He didn't ask me what happened. He didn't ask me what I did or where I was.
She claims that following the alleged rape, she hurried to a petrol station and called her father, who then picked her up and drove her home.
It was incredibly painful, and he was acting like it was nothing.
Yes, he sat in the dark, but he brought into the light some very disturbing allegations against Diddy.
I was screaming. I was telling him to stop.
More than 24 accusers have filed suit against the still imprisoned rap mogul. But this man is the very first to do an on-camera interview telling his chilling story to CNN's Elizabeth Wagmeister.
It was abusive beyond belief.
The man, identified only as John Doe, says he was hired by a security firm to work at one of Sean Combs' famous white parties in the Hamptons.
Hey, yo, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Diddy.
At first, he was incredibly friendly, very gracious.
But the accuser's lawsuit obtained by Extra claims that Combs targeted him, providing him with drinks throughout the night.
This didn't come from staff or someone holding a tray of drinks. It came from him directly.
Correct. The first drink started to have some effect on me, and I just thought, wow, these are really strong drinks. It wasn't until the second drink, and it was already too late, that I realized that there was something wrong with the drinks.
In the suit filed in October, the man claims Diddy pushed him into a van, held him down, and sexually assaulted him. He says he could not escape because he had been drugged.
Sean Combs was waiting in the wings. He was watching from some sort of vantage point, and once I was in a helpless position and he was sure that he was in a position of power, then he took advantage of the situation.
In an exclusive CNN interview just a few weeks ago, a male victim also revealed the abuse he endured at the hands of Diddy, claiming that Diddy really raped him after giving him drugged beverages.
The latest woman to speak out against music mogul Sean Diddy Combs is from Harris County.
Yeah, our Reka Mudaraj is here with more on the lawsuit that was filed yesterday. Reka?
Len and Mia, these are the latest accusations against Sean Combs, and it comes about a week after Combs was indicted on federal charges alleging he used his business empire as a criminal enterprise. Now, yesterday, high-powered attorney Gloria Allred appeared with her client. This is Talia Graves, a Harris County resident who filed a lawsuit against Combs in New York. We are using her name because she has gone public with her claims. Now, in the lawsuit, Graves alleges back in 2001, when she was 25 years old, Combs and his head of security lured her into a meeting at a New York City recording studio where they gave her a drink that caused her to briefly lose consciousness. When she woke up, Graves says she was bound and restrained and was violently raped by Combs. The lawsuit filed Tuesday also claims the alleged assault was recorded and that the video was shown to multiple other men. Graves says she also faced multiple threats that made her stay silent for decades.
The violation I have experienced during the assault has had lasting effects on my body, causing ongoing health problems and complications. The combination of physical and emotional pain has created a cycle of suffering from which it is so hard to break free. I want to continue on this journey towards recovery and healing. I'm glad that he is locked up, but that's a temporary feeling of relief.
On more of Diddy's purported victims. Additionally, on September 24, 2024, Talia Graves came forward publicly. She filed a federal lawsuit against Diddy and his former bodyguard Joseph Sherman, alleging that they drugged and sexually assaulted her in 2001 at a Bad Boy record studio in New York City. Her testimony asked his guard to rip her as well.
What does he say about Jay-Z, the artist, the businessman? Well, the complaint begins. Defendant Sean Combs, along with his longtime friend and collaborator Sean Carter, drugged and raped a 13-year-old girl at an after-party following the 2000 Video Music Awards. Another celebrity stood by and watched as Combs and Carter took turns assaulting the minor. Many others were present at the after-party but did nothing to stop the assault. Combs had been allowed for years to conduct himself in this manner without any consequences. He believes he is above the law. He is not. His close friend Sean Carter has been with Combs during many such instances described herein. Both perpetrators must face justice. So that seems to suggest that Sean Carter, Jay-Z, was not only present or participated in this alleged, what is essentially a crime, but for other instances. And that's really interesting. That's why I bring up this idea of, could he be hit with more lawsuits if you take these allegations as true? Now, the complaint goes on to say, Combs and Carter were not simply occasional collaborators in the music industry. The two men developed a close friendship that has been well documented from the late 1990s to the present. Together, they attended countless music industry events for each other's business ventures, parties, and after parties. Indeed, the two are apparently so close that Combs stated in 2023 that Carter is the only person other than Combs' mother, who is allowed to call him by his legal first name of Sean. In 2000, near the height of their fame, power, and influence, Combs and Carter attended the 2000 Video Music Awards in New York City. Afterwards, Combs hosted an after-party for many of the most famous celebrities in the music and entertainment industries, including Carter, which is where the events alleged in this complaint occurred. I should also say that Busby also used this complaint to address an alleged harassment campaign that he claims Jay-Z started after Busby reached out about his involvement in the suit. The complaint reads, Carter was identified in plaintiff's original complaint as Celebrity A. Prior to the filing of this amended complaint, Carter received a letter from plaintiff's counsel requesting a mediation to resolve this matter. Upon present information and belief, Jay-Z responded to said letter by not only filing an utterly frivolous lawsuit, the one that I mentioned before, but by also orchestrating a conspiracy of harassment, bullying, and intimidation against plaintiffs' lawyers, their families, employees, and former associates in an attempt to silence plaintiff from naming Jay-Z herein. This effort was meant to scare plaintiff and to discredit her counsel. That effort failed. Indeed, plaintiff chose to file this amendment as a result of the egregious conduct perpetuated by Carter.
Diddy was accused of sexually abusing children younger than his own, so it's totally understandable why his family is attempting to avoid him. No one wants to be associated with a pedophile, and if the charges against Diddy prove to be true, it's difficult to imagine what his family will go through. Combs, 54, is currently in jail on federal charges that include sex trafficking, racketeering conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He was denied bail twice after entering a not crime. According to reports, Jay-Z and Beyoncé attended the gathering where the assault occurred as well, and they assisted Diddy in covering it up in addition to partially
Brother Love, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs. That's when they're going to start talking. And they're not going to be talking in this.
Gandiel has discussed why celebrities are currently being silent and attempting to hide what transpired. He claims that Diddy videotaped everything that happened at his house and that everyone who attended his party was also recorded. As a result, these celebrities are afraid of what can be revealed if they speak up. Smith, Will Diddy was best friends with Jay-Z, Ashton Kutcher, and Jennifer Lopez, but they are all now attempting to distance themselves from the incident.
We intend to name people in the torn and sore.
In a recent interview with Piers Morgan, Tony Busby, the attorney who filed the complaint against Diddy, stated that there are more than 300 victims, some of whom are under the age of 7. All of the victims who are coming forward have police reports and medical evidence to support their accusations. And Busby promised to name everyone involved in the sex trafficking ring. What are your thoughts on the horrific allegations against Diddy and the silence of the celebrities who were allegedly involved? Do you think justice will finally prevail? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. As the lawsuits mount and Diddy's own family begins to distance themselves, the weight of these accusations is impossible to ignore.